All right, we're live. We're doing it. We are here. Hey, everyone. As you can see, my background's a little different. I'm on the road and I am borrowing an apartment. It's a little echoey. I hope you can hear me okay. If not, please let me know. And I hope that I can keep some signal going here and I don't lose Wi-Fi or something crazy like that. But thanks for joining in. So cool. Everyone's coming in on the chat. I love it. Chatting with you a little bit there as well. And I'm excited to get started tonight, talk about stock cabinets versus custom cabinets. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. But of course, if you are in watching this live and you do have a question as we go on, please put 4 question marks in front of it. That just helps me see it in case I miss it and I don't want to do that. So yeah, so awesome. Glad you can all be here tonight. And like I said, I'm on the road and I'm a little disjointed. And hopefully this will all make sense tonight. But so far, so good. And let me know if you can hear me okay or you can't, because, you know, I don't have my regular microphone. I don't have my regular camera, but I kind of like this. It's really bright, so it's pretty good so far. All right. You're exactly right, Phil. Donairs are very popular in Halifax, which is where I'm at right now. I'm in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I was at IKEA all day today, for a lot of the day today. I went there twice actually to film and just walk around and look at some stuff. Had a really fun time, and but looking forward to going home tomorrow. So let's get started. Everybody who has a kitchen either has 2 basic types of cabinets. They have either stock cabinets or custom cabinets when we boil it down to the bare bones. And so that's what I want to talk about tonight. And we'll get into some of the details about customizing stock cabinets and maybe semi-custom cabinets. But I just want to break down. So if you are no, I didn't. Sorry. I'm going to get sidetracked by the comments all night. I know it. If you're in the process of designing a kitchen or renovating a kitchen, you do have these options. We want to look at stock options, and custom options that you might be looking at. Which ones might be right for you? Look at the pros and cons. Look at some of the things that my opinions on some things, and what might be a good direction you can go to. And we're going to talk about all that. So if that's you tonight, this is a really good video for you to be watching, or live stream, or if you're watching the replay. And for the rest of us who are just, all of us regulars who show up every Wednesday night, super appreciate you. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, thanks so much for being here. And I did put a question up on YouTube, and it's to give me some new kitchens that I can comment on, TV sitcom kitchens that I can comment on, because that was a really fun video to do, the one I did before with the Friends Kitchen and Seinfeld and whatnot. And so I'd love to hear some of the ideas that you'd have. And so I'd have them all in one place so I can go and check that out. And I'm going to make a video on some of those coming up. I was kind of thinking about like the Golden Girls, maybe Three's Company or something like that. So there's lots of kitchens out there in TV land I'd love to comment on. And it's just it's a fun for me. So yeah, I was at IKEA all day filming and looking at some of my favorite things at IKEA, some of my favorite finds. So I'm going to do a video on that coming up. I'm going to put that video out in a few weeks. Just some of my favorite finds on at IKEA, and what are the things that I like when I go there. Some are kitchen related and some are not. So it should be for an interesting video. Let's chat about stock cabinets, and we'll get into this. Let me have a quick drink. And again, thanks to my friend Rob, who on here is called 20-Minute Guitar Player, for loaning me his apartment tonight to do a little video for you all tonight, live stream. I really do appreciate it. So, all right, let's go into some of these, and I'm gonna not look at my comments for a few minutes. So just bear with me. If you do put a question up, I'm not going to see it for a few minutes. So maybe you want to wait for a little while. Let's talk about stock cabinets. So like I said, there's 2 basic options that we have. I mean, we have more than that, but when it boils down to the nuts and bolts, we strip everything away. We have stock cabinets and we have custom cabinets. And so we're going to talk about stock cabinets first, some pros and cons and my thoughts about that. And then we'll move on from there. So these are some of the things. So what is a stock cabinet? Basically, from the get-go, if we're looking at stock cabinets, we're looking at cabinets that are pre-built or at least pre-made, maybe ready to assemble, or they could be pre-built. and they only come in a particular amount of sizes, a certain standard amount of size options, and a certain amount of finish options. So you have a little bit of variability between sizes to design a kitchen with, and the styles that are offered to you. And generally speaking, these would be sold in big box stores like IKEA as well, or Home Depots or the stores like that, or maybe smaller regional home improvement outlets. And also online with RTA.com, like the RTA cabinet store and stuff like that. There's lots of cabinet brands out there that are considered either ready to assemble or fully assembled stock cabinets. And by nature, they're not customizable, which I'll get into more in a minute about customizing them. But at the company that's selling them, at least, is not going to customize them for you. You're getting what you're getting, and so that's what a stock cabinet is. And so some of the pros of this we'll go into here right now. So affordability is really one of the bigger reasons that someone would choose stock cabinet option over custom cabinet option, because they generally are less expensive for a variety of reasons, and that we'll get into as well. But they're generally less expensive, and so if you're looking for something that's more budget friendly, or maybe you're doing a house flip, or a lot of times if you're maybe a builder and you're putting them into, or you're considering becoming a builder, maybe you want to put up a couple duplexes as an income property for yourself. A lot of times stock cabinets is a great option for the reason of affordability. So affordability is number one. Now let me just go back and say this. That doesn't mean that necessarily they're cheap, but because of the way they're manufactured and mass produced, they can be offered at a lower price. Now they could be cheap, quality wise, but we'll get into that in a second. But that doesn't necessarily mean that. The next one is this: availability. Generally speaking, and everything I'm saying tonight is generally speaking. So these aren't hard, fast, this is exactly the way it is. But overall, from being in this industry myself for such a long time and selling both of these kinds of cabinets over the years, these are pretty general. Availability: you can generally get stock cabinets faster than you can a custom cabinet. Now, the pandemic definitely had some, problems with, availability, and that's because things weren't manufactured in the same way. But considering everything is just being manufactured and it's in the stores, you can usually go in and get what you need, or order it online and have it delivered to you in a pretty short timeline. So that's a big thing for a lot of people. They want to have it quicker. They don't want to wait months and months maybe to get something. And so overall, I can get these in a quicker manner, and they're more affordable. So those are two pretty good pluses for many consumers. The next one is, I just said that, didn't I? Yeah, I just did. I kind of skipped ahead of myself. Okay, let's keep going. They're limited size and style options. So this is kind of a con, but that can be overcome a little bit, because I think you can customize cabinets that are stock. So these would be, you only have so many sizes. Generally speaking, a standard stock lineup, a good standard stock lineup that I would consider a good one, would start with a 9-inch cabinet and go 3-inch increments up to 36 inches, which gives you a pretty good wide variety of cabinet sizes. Now, a lot of cabinet brands strip that down. They take out the 33 inches, they take out the 27s, they take out the 9s, sometimes they take out the 21s. And so you're left with a kind of more stripped down stock options for sizes. And so that can be a little bit of a hindrance when you're trying to lay out a kitchen and you need a 27 that will fit, but you only have a 24. So you're left with 3 inches that you have to put a filler in, or figure out some other way to fill that space. And so, but overall, 3-inch increments from 9 to 36 inches wide is a lot of very good options. Generally, a good lineup would have 2 basic 90-degree corner cabinet sizes, so a 33 and a 36, and a few different sizes of blind corner cabinets. So to me, that would be a pretty good lineup. Two of each corner, and they'd have probably a few different pantry options, maybe an 18, a 24, 30, maybe a couple more. So that would be a really good stock lineup. And honestly, that gives you so many options when you're trying to lay out a kitchen, that I've never encountered a real problem with trying to get a layout unless I want it to be really ultra customized in some other way. But to get a very good functional kitchen layout, having all those available sizes is very good, even though you're limited in the sense that you can't customize them to be a different size. Now, when I say that, you can still customize them yourself after the fact and do all kinds of creative things with them. I have videos on my channel about just that, and I see comments from other viewers and people who follow my channel and out there doing this type of thing, of different ideas to take these stock cabinets and make them into something else that they're not. But when you're buying them from the manufacturer or the store, they're, basically, here we go, these are the sizes, and you can get creative after the fact, but it's still a stock cabinet and you're still only available to these sizes. Okay, that being said, you generally you get you get lower quality materials. This isn't always the case, and it's not always the case on the other side of custom either, that you're always getting high quality materials. I'm not saying that, but usually when you're buying a ready to assemble cabinet, as opposed to something that's customized with different choices of materials, usually you would be getting something that's less quality. Now, that being said, it also depends on what you determine to be good quality. And a lot of the times the emphasis is put on something that it shouldn't be put on. And I'm going to talk about that now. And I've said this before in the past. So for me personally, I don't care if your cabinets are made out of cabinet grade particle board, which, or people would call it MDF sometimes, or chipboard, but it's particle grade cabinet, particle board, which is basically like a melamine. And I'm not concerned whether your cabinets are made of that versus plywood. To me, that's not the real issue. The real issue for me is the moving parts of the cabinets, the hardware, such as the hinges, the drawer pullouts, things that are going to have all the movement and that can wear out. So generally, those are, I'm going to overuse that word. I should have a tip jar for every time I use it. But usually, those are the things that are less quality in most stock lineups. Now, some stock cabinet brands, such as IKEA, use a very high quality hardware system. So they use Bloom, and other stock companies do as well. And so that's a good thing. So if you are okay with the lower quality of particle board, which to me really isn't a big deal, I honestly don't care, but you can get a good quality hardware because those are the things that are moving all the time. I think you're getting a pretty good cabinet in light of the fact that you can't customize it the way that you can with custom. I'm a big fan of stock cabinets. Although I spent most of the majority of my career designing for a higher end custom cabinet manufacturer, I really appreciate the ability to take stock cabinets and make them into something that they weren't intended to be made into. To me, I just like pushing the envelope a little bit in that regard. And that's sort of my personality. And so I've always liked that idea of being able to take something and make it into something else that suits your needs and is functional for you. So in no way am I saying that if you go with a stock cabinet, that you're getting something that's cheap or not customizable or no good. It's just to understand exactly what it is and then work around those things to get exactly what you need. So that I want to be very clear on that, because this isn't like a bad option versus a good option. Like stock cabinets is a bad option and custom is a good option. That's not my intent, and nor do I think that at all. I think stock cabinets are a great option if they're the right option for you, and custom is a great option if they're the right option for you. And there's obviously a conversation about that is the right for the person who's going to be purchasing it. So just keep that in mind as we go along. These are sort of blanket statements, and I'm trying to justify myself as I go through this. So, and that brings us to this one: lack of customization. So again, you're buying what you're buying, and you can't go to the company and say, "Hey, that's a 12. Can you make it a 13?" And be like, "No, this is how it comes. You can stretch it yourself at home if you want to, but we're not going to do it." So there's a lack of customization. And a lot of the times, what that does for a lot of consumers is it just gives them some limitations because maybe they don't think they can do anything else, or maybe they don't know how to customize something. They're just buying what they're buying and they're installing it, and that's completely fine too. You don't have to do anything out of the ordinary to stock cabinets to make them work and function and be a really great kitchen that lasts a long time. But some people do like to make things out of other things using stock cabinets, myself included. And but if you don't know how to do that or you're unaware of it, then this is maybe a negative for you if you want to have something that you can't have. The lack of customization really comes down not really to the sizes that you have available to you, but more the finishes and options like that. Usually a stock cabinet lineup will have a limited selection of available finishes. And again, if you want something else, you probably won't be able to find it. They just offer what they offer. Now, can you go paint them? Can you do something? Yes, you can do all that and make them custom, customize them, dip them in gold if you want to. But that's not going to happen from the manufacturer. So that's what we're talking about. So that's just a little bit of an overview of stock cabinets. If you're looking at stock cabinets again, or if you're thinking about going that route, one, there can be a very great option, and you can do a lot with them that they're maybe not intended to be done with. And I think the big thing is just make sure that you're getting good quality hardware. If you're not getting good quality hardware, I'd start to look around at other options or other brands and try to investigate what kind of hardware they use. Do they use Bloom, which would be probably the go-to, and a lot of companies do, but some don't. They use other brands that maybe are cheaper to source, but don't have the backing of quality that a Bloom hardware would have. And so that would be one of the things I really look at if you're looking at stock cabinets. And then you can kind of make the decision based on price and availability and the amount of sizes that they have to make your final decision. So let's move on to stock or custom cabinets. Let me just jump over to the comments for a second because I've been not paying attention. And I want to say hi just to everyone who's jumping on. If I haven't said hi to you already, I'm so glad you're here. Bluebell, I will comment about Semi in a minute, but I want to talk about these two first, and then I'll comment on that. And yeah, if you're joining me and you have a question, maybe just wait a little bit longer if you do have a question, and just make sure that you put a few question marks in front of it so I know. All right. Let's keep going. Okay, I'll go back to your comments in a minute. I just wanted to jump there for a second. So let's talk about custom cabinets, shall we? What is a custom cabinet? Well, it's just that. It's a cabinet that is customized, meaning that you can go to the manufacturer and ask them basically for anything within reason, sort of. You can ask them for a variety of things that maybe aren't in the catalog, and you'll be able to get that for a premium, for some kind of upcharge. That's the world where I really came from. There was a book of sizes that were stock sizes. They would match a stock lineup. They were stock sizes, even though they're customized cabinets. But if you wanted something else, you could ask for that and have that made. I would spend hours drawing out cabinets that I wanted, that a client wanted, that didn't exist, but they would make it exist. And that's really the essence of custom cabinets. Otherwise, what a custom cabinet is really just cabinets that haven't been made yet, and they're making them to order. So you're ordering this kitchen and we're going to make those cabinets to fit. But all custom cabinet manufacturers all have all the same standard sizes that most stock cabinet companies have as well. It's standard in the industry. Usually it's 3-inch increments. Some have some in between, like half, like some companies will do a 13.5 cabinet or a 31.5 cabinet, something like that. But when it comes to custom, you can get basically any size you want made to order. That's truly what makes them custom. Now, so that's unlimited styles and options. So you should be able to get any wood that you want, any type of, if you want some kind of thermal plastic that's out there, you should be able to order that. They can order that in from somewhere and clad your cabinets with that. any heights that you want. It's not something I really mentioned in stock, but there's height options too. Any height, any width, any depth, anything that you want, basically you should be able to get with a custom cabinet. However, usually you're just getting stock sizes because it's less expensive, but they're just not built yet. They're not on a shelf that you can go get. So they're custom made to you. So you have more options when it comes to finishes and material choices, such as what the cabinets are made out of. Maybe you have options on pullouts, different tiers of levels of quality of pullouts. You'd have different quality and levels of hinges. You could have different wood, doors, or if they're made out of particle board, or if they're made out of plywood, or sometimes metal, or sometimes, I don't know, something else, some acrylics or polyester wraps, or all kinds of different things like that. So you have a much more options in terms of the style and sizes that you want to get. And that's really what makes something custom. Now, maybe I'll stop here and just talk about, no, I'll keep going, then I'll talk about semi-custom. Okay, so we have, generally speaking, higher quality materials. And again, my emphasis is always first on the hinges and the rails and those things that are moving parts. So even if you have a custom cabinet manufacturer, but they're sourcing out cheaper quality hardware parts, that's a little questionable for me. I would rather have, again, good quality moving parts, because those are the things that are going to wear down, than have something that looks really good and it's made out of walnut, but it's going to fall apart because of these things that aren't that great quality. So that's always something to consider. You can have both in the mix, and that's something to make sure you understand. But usually you have higher quality materials, though not always, because you can have quality, you can have custom manufacturers that make custom cabinets out of very low quality particle board that they source somewhere very cheaply. And so you gotta be very careful. So just because something's custom doesn't mean you're getting something that's higher quality, though that would be assumed. And usually it is a higher quality, but not always. So be very careful with that. All right, complete customization. This is kind of what I highlighted before with unlimited styles and options. But if you have a kitchen layout with a custom manufacturer, if I'm designing a kitchen layout and I bring up my software and you're saying I'm going custom, then to me, it's just a free pass to be like, I have no limitations in terms of what I can do in making this kitchen be exactly what you're asking me to make it. Whereas if you're using stock cabinets, there are limitations, and that's okay. It just means you have to work within those limitations. And those limitations are the sizes and the styles and what's available. But with custom, there's just complete ability to make it exactly the way you want it. And usually when we're looking at, really, sometimes I'll do pictures of kitchens and I'll do video with different pictures. And some of them are so unique and so interesting. And a lot of times those are custom made cabinets because you have the option to do all of those things that you don't usually have to do with stock cabinets. And so that's one of the definite pros is you don't have to take a stock cabinet and force it into something else. You just have it made that way. That comes with this next one, which is a higher cost. And I've never seen a stock cabinet lineup come in cheaper or less expensive than a custom cabinet kitchen. Usually side by side, the exact same kitchen. There's going to be probably almost always, and again, generalizing here, but normally in my experience, if I did two side by side exact same kitchens, even if I did stock cabinet sizes and then those exact same stock cabinet sizes, and maybe they were both white kitchens, they're both almost identical, the custom kitchen is going to be more expensive. The percentage wise, it's hard to say because that depends on the two companies, and it depends on the price margin that I'm putting on it. It's going to depend on the price margin that I'm buying it at, what my discount is, my dealer discount, and then how much I'm marking that up to you. So there's a lot of discrepancy sometimes in pricing. Custom can seem really high, but that's usually because you're paying a higher premium for that, and that's a lot of that is margin, because usually a custom kitchen has a lot of margin. It's a good margin product. It's not a lower margin product. Whereas a stock cabinets usually don't have as high margin overall. So you're getting a higher cost. Because it's custom, I can charge you more. Just the word custom makes it more expensive. And even if it's not matching quality, usually I'm going to charge you more because we said the word custom. And that comes with certain expectations. And right or wrong, that's just how it is. If you have a custom cabinet that comes in cheaper than maybe an IKEA kitchen, you might think something's up. Right? You might think, I don't, is this something going on? What's wrong? Maybe you'll just take the deal and run with it because you probably know that someone messed up in their calculations. But usually it would raise some red flag that this something must be going on. So that's something to think about. Let's go to this next one, which is longer lead times. Now, aside from waiting 10 months for your IKEA kitchen, usually a custom cabinet is going to take a long time. Now, back in the early days, my early days at least, we could do a custom kitchen in 4 weeks, which is outrageously short amount of time. Then that bumped up to 6 weeks, then 8 weeks, then 10 weeks. Now, when I finally got out of the business, we were 10 to 12 weeks, and that's really good. So I can go into the store. I was in a store today. I was in a big box store today looking at cabinets, just poking around. And they had cabinets on the shelf that I could just take home. All the cabinet sizes there, I could just leave with them. And they also did custom cabinets, which I'd have to wait 10, 12 weeks for. So there's just longer lead times because they're being made for you. And this next one, I'm going to say this one. I think this should be for both, but usually you should have these installed. Almost all the time would I recommend having a professional come in and install your kitchen because they're going to do it right. Now, we all have horror stories, but if you have a good cabinet installer, you've got someone who you should really hang on to and make sure you tell your friends about, because they are worth their weight in gold if they are really good at installing cabinets, because it's a real art form. And when you come across someone who's really good at it, I'm telling you, there's nothing else better than having a kitchen installed by someone who really knows their stuff. And when you're dealing with custom, usually this is the way it would go. When you're doing stock cabinets, I still recommend that you should have it installed by that same amazing cabinet installer, because you want it to be installed really, really well. Because half of the job is getting it installed. Anybody can design it. Any old Joe here can design a kitchen. Anyone can sell it to you. Getting them made is a pretty big skill. But the next thing up from that is getting them installed. That's a real craftsmanship at its finest, and it should be done by a professional. So I'll say that for any kitchen. Now, a lot of the times when people buy stock cabinets, they buy it with the intention of do it yourself because of the price, the savings on the dollars. When you're doing it yourself, you're not paying someone to do that, and usually paying someone to do that costs a lot of money. So that's something to consider. And I always do think that cabinets should be installed professionally. And I know the nightmare stories are out there. I know there's nightmare installers out there. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Make sure you maybe do your homework, find out other kitchens they've installed to see how great they are. But something definitely that I would recommend. Almost always I'd recommend that. I wouldn't even install my own kitchen. So, all right, key factors to consider. We talked about kind of the pros and cons. We're going through the motions here. We're looking for cabinets. We're trying to figure out, do we want to go stock? Do we want to go custom? What are some of the things that we're thinking about? Hopefully so far you've got some value already from just some of these things. If you're looking at kitchens and doing a kitchen renovation, make sure you do hit that thumbs up when you arrive. If you haven't already, get on that, hit that thumbs up. Let me know you're enjoying this. help help the algorithm. I don't know if it helps the algorithm or not. Here's the key things to consider, and then we'll get through these. I'll jump into the comments and we'll chat a little bit. Hopefully, you have some questions. Budget. So that's the key thing to consider, right, for everything, or isn't it? Anything to do with kitchens, it's budget. If your budget is stock cabinets, then that's the way it's going to go. And like I said, that is not a negative thing. That doesn't mean you can't have customized options. That doesn't mean you can't have amazing, functional, beautiful kitchen. So take that as it is. But usually budget does determine how customized something can be. So when I was dealing with clients and they had it was a custom kitchen, but that doesn't mean it was customized, if that makes sense. And they want something customized. Usually there's a pretty big upcharge for that. 25% is usually on the price of that particular unit, that cabinet. There'd be an upcharge of 25%. That would be, you want to change the size, maybe the height, the width, or the depth, or something like that. That comes with an upcharge. And so that can easily start to, top off the budget, especially if you have, money set aside for contingencies and countertops and installation and hardware and all these other things. And so now the cabinets, which take up a considerable amount of your budget, they start to grow and grow and grow and take away from other things. So that's something you want to watch. But budget is usually a key factor for these things. And, I always recommend get a bunch of quotes. Get quotes on a stock lineup. Get quotes on custom. Try to make sure that they match in terms of what you're getting for layout and for pullouts and options and stuff. Get them as closely as possible, and then that'll help you to see where you're at, what you want to spend, and if it's worth taking the jump to if something is more expensive and it's actually more valuable than having stock to go custom. That's another discussion that you should be having. Because just because it's more expensive doesn't mean it has more value in it. Timeline is something to consider, key factor. So budget, you want to consider your timeline. Are you in a rush? If you're in a rush, don't go to IKEA, but maybe you want to go somewhere else where they actually have the stock. I don't know if all IKEAs are like that still, but I've had some horror stories from people around here. And if you can wait, a lot of times if you're building a new construction, you have time, or you're going to wait anyway. It's in the plan, so it's not a big deal. Then that's something to consider. Of course, you got to consider style preferences. So a key factor is if you want maybe a beadboard. I don't know why you'd want that. That's an old school style. No offense to anybody who has that out there or wants that. But if you have a beadboard style, you're probably not going to find that in a stock cabinet lineup. You're normally going to find that in something that's more customized, or you want walnut, or you want fire engine red, or whatever. You want a color that you can't get, then those are some of the things you have to think about. And you have to think about the kitchen layout itself. Though this one, you can do a lot with stock cabinets, like I said before, but there's some things you can't do with them. And so if your layout is really, pushing you one direction or the other, that's something you definitely have to consider. So the option would be to go with one of the options, stock or custom, or change the layout to fit whatever it is that you want. Usually if you're changing the layout, it's because you're using custom cabinets and you find that it's over the budget. So you're trying to find something else. And so we have to change the layout possibly to something more stock oriented so that you can make that fit. So those are some of the things to consider. However, like I said before, with all the size options and availability in stock cabinet manufacturers that they provide, there's a lot you can do. There's just so much you can do. And hopefully, if you don't know what to do, you can find videos on the internet, my videos, and other people have videos out there as well, content that will help you figure out how to do certain things with stock cabinets. And sometimes, just the old noggin kicks in, you're looking at it and be like, I think I can do that. Some of us are definitely like that. Long-term value is something you should definitely be thinking about and considering. And like I said before, just because something is priced high does not mean it has value. But when you're purchasing stock cabinets off the shelf, they're probably not going to hold their value in the same way that a custom cabinet will, because usually they have less quality hardware, and the manufacturing of them is just not the same as a custom job, depending on the cabinet, of course. So those are things to consider. Are you getting value, a long-term value? Is this a quick flip of a house? So maybe it doesn't really matter to you how long the cabinets last, as long as they last until the sale of that house. And maybe that's the important thing. But if you're using them, you want them to last a long time. So paying more money up front might be better than paying less money up front, but having to have all kinds of problems as it goes along. Again, all kinds of stories in the middle, all kinds of things can happen in the weeds when you're talking about these things. And so none of these are blanket statements, just key things to consider when we're looking at these types of cabinets. Now, when you're shopping, you'll have some homework. So this is the homework that you have to really consider when you're doing your shopping. You're out looking at all kinds of different cabinets. You're going around town, going to different showrooms, maybe looking online. You're trying to find out what's the best thing to do. So the first thing that you need to do is prioritize the important factors. So what we just talked about here: budget, timeline, style, the layout, the value. Which of those is the most important factor to you? So prioritize that, and really and make sure that you know what your priorities are when you're looking at a kitchen. I want a functional kitchen above anything else. Okay, well then that's top priority. That's top priority over budget then. Or the kitchen has to be this much and nothing else. Okay, well then that's top priority over maybe layout or style. Or I want, aquamarine snake skin wrapped cabinets. That's it. That's all I want. Well, then that's going to take precedent over budget and everything else. So really know what your priorities are, and then let that be your guiding light, I guess. Weigh out the pros and cons. So again, look at all the differences between them. Some of the things we just talked about. Find out the quality of hardware. Find out what the options are available. If you want Shaker White from a stock cabinet lineup that has Bloom hardware, you might get a really great deal, and you have a very nice L shape with an island, with a pull-out, pantry with pullouts, and a base corner blind with a pull-out Lazy Susan or something crazy like that. You can get that in stock cabinet lineups, and so that might be really good for you. You can get a really great kitchen that's really good quality and maybe not, totally nuts on the budget, where you can get the exact same thing maybe from custom, but really more expensive. So really weigh out the pros and cons, and don't just discount one or the other because maybe a preconceived idea of one is better, or some people don't like custom because they're like, oh, I don't want to pay for that. Like, that's ridiculous. I don't want to pay for that, which I understand too. And some people don't like stock because it's cheap, and I want something that's going to last. So you kind of have both of these camps, but it's good to really weigh out those options to get something that is really going to fit what you need. And then consult with a professional like myself or someone else out there. Ask some professionals. The only problem with professionals is oftentimes, because I was one of them, if I have a product to sell you, then I'm a little biased, right? So you just have to kind of be careful of that as well. I mean, if I'm selling custom kitchens, I'm likely not going to steer you towards somewhere else that I don't have. So try to find someone who's in the industry, who's not connected to the product, to get their opinions on it. I'll leave it at that. I mean, interior designers are often good sources for this if they know their stuff in kitchens, and many of them do. So they're good sources. I'm a good source because I'm not trying to plug my service or anything, but just it's the fact. I'm a good source because I'm not connected to a product. So whatever one you want, I can help you do that. That's what my videos are all about. Interior designers, maybe some builders that carpenters who are out in the industry. So these are kind of people that you should be asking and trying to find out which way you should go for your kitchen, what is the best route, considering your preferences, the pros and cons between all those different types of options. So I hope that makes sense and is helpful. that was a quick half hour, and I hope you had a little bit of value on that. I'm going to come back to the comments because I've been out of here, and I'm going to look around for some questions. So if you're just I'm just coming back on. I'm just seeing these now, so I'll probably miss a few questions. If you have to ask it again, please do if I don't get to it. But I do see Paula has one here. I do want to mention before we get into that. Let me see here. Let's get rid of that. Because I think Bluebell had a comment earlier about semi-custom. What is semi-custom? And semi-custom, to me at least, is a stock lineup of cabinets, stock cabinets that aren't built yet, and you're ordering them to they're being made to order. So they're custom made, but there's only certain sizes that they have, and generally they have more options. So they'll have a lot more options available to you, and so they're not off the shelf. They're still being basically custom made, but they still have only so many options. That's really what a semi-custom kitchen is. And a lot of people go that route because they can be in the middle price wise, and because of the amount of options that they have. Usually you can find more unique things than you could get with just stock, but not necessarily have to go full on custom, because you don't need to do that. So that's really what my understanding of a semi-custom kitchen is. I was never really selling a semi-custom kitchen. It was either one or the other: full on custom, which was 90% of my life, or stock, which was here and there. And then semi-custom, to me, it's just it's kind of a hybrid of the two, which is good. It's good to have those options out there. So if you're looking at that and you're finding places that sell them, I know like Home Depot have semi-custom options, and Menards and different retailers. And so those are other things to consider. Use all the same pros and cons that we looked at and keep those priorities. So, always check the quality of the hardware. I mean, warranty is another thing to make sure you consider. Look at the warranty and go that way. Making sure you're getting, a lot of times with a stock kitchen, you're not really getting a good warranty. Some you are. And with custom, you can. The other thing with custom is sometimes you can also, they're custom made in someone's backyard, in their garage, in their basement, or their workshop. So that's also custom, and that I would say, be cautious, only because you're probably not going to get a good warranty, though you might get the best cabinet you've ever had made in your whole life. You might get the best kitchen you've ever had. But really make sure you do your homework when you're doing that as well. And usually people who are building cabinets like that will have clients that you can go and look at, and that can vouch for them. So that can be good. All right, I did see a question, and I am going to look at it here. All right, here we go. Please explain painted cabinets. If I wanted new cabinets in a particular color, say Benjamin Moore, is this custom? Yes, this would be custom, and yes, some companies do this. And it sort of will depend on whether or not they use Benjamin Moore. So some companies do. Some companies will use Sherwin-Williams. And some companies, you can take a swatch of Benjamin Moore and have it sent to them. They'll mix up their color, put it on something, a sample, send it back to you to approve, and you can say, yes, that's what I want. So that's what the company I worked for did. Someone would bring in something, a Benjamin Moore color or Sherwin-Williams color or whatever, and I'd send that off, they'd match it, and then they'd have a reference, a formula for that paint that they would now make and paint your cabinets with. So that is, yes, that is definitely custom for sure. You'd be paying a pretty good premium for that if you want to do that. Now, does every company do that? No, definitely not. But a lot of custom manufacturers would. If they're truly custom, yes, they would. They would do that for sure. Awesome. That's a good question. All right, let's keep going. Let me just scroll down. Darlene's here, but she pressed the like button. I hope you did on the way in, everyone. And now I'm going to just jump over here for a second. Oh, hey, Scott, I see your question. Okay, before I jump anywhere, do you think it's worthwhile to get dovetail joints on cabinet drawers, or is it just more for show? Um, no, I think it's good. I mean, really, it's only show for like you, right, in your kitchen. I don't know. That's a really good question. I do think dovetail drawers probably are better. Here's the problem. Here's my issue with drawers. Whether or not they're made of dovetail, it's really the bottom that is carrying the weight. And so if they're made of dovetail, but they just have this thin hardboard base to them, um, then I don't know if it really matters. If they have a 5/8 solid bottom to them and they're dovetail, that makes a really nice drawer. That doesn't mean you can't get a meta box drawer that's good quality, that's soft close, that does everything, holds the same amount of weight. So I don't know. I'm kind of I'm kind of in between on this one. I will say this: I have dovetail drawers. Um, because they came with a tandem undermount um, hardware system that I really, really like. And they're so easy to get on and off. The hardware carries 100 pounds each rail. So there's tons of weight load. But that type of rail isn't available in a Meta box or some other kind of box that you might get. So I don't know if that really answers your question, Scott, but I do think it's worthwhile. I will say that. I don't think it's like the end of the world, but I think it's worthwhile in terms of quality. Phil, have you had any clients regret not getting custom overstock cabinets? Um, not that I know of. I mean, not that anyone's ever come back to me and said, not that I can think of it at least. I mean, maybe they did, but they never told me. Um, but no, I can't say that I know of anybody who's I know people who regret getting particular colors of kitchens, but usually not whether or not they were stock or not. So yeah, I can't really say that I know of anybody. So someone might come to mind. I'm sure there's someone out there who's come to me after the fact and be like, I wish I had gotten something that was better quality. That would be the only thing they did. Maybe they got a bad quality cabinet. French dovetail is stronger than English dovetail. Oui, oui. See what I did there? All right, we got some white kitchen lovers. Your white kitchen lovers are welcome here. All right, so here we go. Dovetail is stronger joint, but it must be in conjunction with a 1/2 inch sides and bottom. So yeah, like I said, I would even go 5/8, but 1/2 inch minimum for sure. Yeah, and it's a stronger joint. And that's just the box. So again, the drawer rail itself, that matters to me more than the box itself. So I would make sure you have the best quality hardware over whether or not something's dovetail. I'll go on a limb and say that. Mike's saying dovetail's better for resale. Yeah, it's too bad that it is because like I said, I don't think it's the most. I don't think it should be the determining factor. I think it still should be hardware. Okay, I'm going to sound like a broken record. Raymond's here. Hey, I'm painting my existing cabinets with Benjamin Moore Advanced water-based alkali paint. Cool. You are brave. Are you spraying them? Are you getting them sprayed? How are you doing them? Are you doing them? Let us know, Raymond, how you're doing them. I'm curious. Are you painting them brush or what? If the kitchen is basic galley layout, nothing unusual, would it make sense to go with good quality stock cabinets? I think it would make sense to go with good quality stock cabinets, no matter really what the layout is, if it fits the layout. I think that's fine. So I'm going to say yes. It makes sense. Does it fit the budget? Are you getting the color that you want? Are you getting good quality hardware, or at least enough quality that you're happy with the price? I would say yeah. I wouldn't be against that. If you can't get the layout that you want, then maybe not. Soft close day quality to people. Yeah. Soft close. Everything should be soft close now. Here we go. Is frameless stock or is that custom? No, don't be sorry. That's a good question, actually. It's a really good question. Yes and no. So if you are shopping at IKEA, then yes, it's stock because that's what their cabinets are. They're ready to assemble, but they're stock cabinets and they're frameless. A lot of hardware stores and big box retailers like Home Depot will sell prefabbed cabinets and they're framed and they're stock, but they'll also sell, ready to assemble cabinets as well that are stock. So yes, frameless cabinets are stock, not custom. But years ago, that wasn't the case. So years ago, everything that was, if you wanted a European style kitchen, which was what was called frameless, you would have to be ordered, but not today. So you can actually get both. All right. Is custom worth it or have stock cut down here? I have a huge island with cabinets only on one side. For a future project, I am thinking of having additional cabinets installed under the overhang. That's cool. I like that idea. So is custom worth it? Yeah, so that's the question. Like, that's the question. That's the question to you, Paul. Is it worth it or not for you to have them made custom or not? You can usually, so if you're going to put cabinets on the back of an overhang, depending on the depth of that overhang, you can probably do that with a stock wall cabinet, 12 inches deep, 30 inches high. You can build them up on a sub base, match the toe kick. They look like they grew there. So depending on the variabilities that you're dealing with, yes, you can definitely use custom to cut down on cost if you want to go that way. Oh, here we go, 14-inch overhang. I'd like to have some overhang left. Okay, so if you have 14-inch overhang, you're using stock cabinets, you're going to have 12, so you don't have 2 inches left, so you're going to have to do something else than that. You'd have to go something custom. But then if you want 6 inches, you're going to have a really shallow cabinet. It might not be worth doing that at all. So I would consider, if you want to have extra storage, go with the 12-inch depth and not have 6 inches of overhang, because 6 inches of overhang isn't going to give you any knee space anyway. It would almost probably look better if you had just a matching overhang all the way around, in my opinion. All right. Raymond's saying he's using small rollers. Okay, microfiber ones, not the foam ones. Let us know how it goes, Raymond. I'd love to know. I'm always curious in how people get along when they're painting their own cabinets, because yeah, it's such a big job. So I'm applauding you for attempting it, but that's good. I've painted cabinets before, and they turned out okay. But the type of paint I was using isn't even available anymore because that had like really high VOCs in it. Cool. Yeah, you're very welcome. Oh yeah, yeah. I stand by that. If it's between seating and storage, go with storage on an island. I mean, you know, let me know how many of you sit at your island all the time. Sometimes no one ever sits at them. So I think storage is good. If you need the extra storage, that's a good place to get it. So, but of course, that comes to a question, Paul. You can dress up the backside nicely. Yeah, there's a lot you can do with cabinets to dress them up. Does it need to be semi-gloss? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the first part of that. Hey, Sanjiv's in the house. Depends on who makes it dovetail. It really does. I'm sure, Sanjiv, you've seen bad quality and good quality when it comes to these. I have as well. And when I see something that's dovetailed with just this thin little bottom on it, I'm like, ooh, that's not good. I don't like the look of that. All right. All right. So I asked a question over on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, there's no way you can get at this, but I'm going to just jump over here for a second. I asked a question instead of putting up a poll, which TV sitcom kitchens should I comment on next? If you can, if I don't know if do you like comment on that on the question? I've never done a Q&A before in the YouTube thing, in the chat feed, so I don't know how it works. So if someone wants to answer that, please do, because I want to find out what would be a good kitchen to comment on when it comes to TV sitcom kitchens, because I think that'd be kind of fun. And it's funny to comment on the design and the layout of them because they're just TV sitcom sets. But I think it's cool anyway. Let me have a sip of water and then we'll continue. Almost done. All right. Terry just saying all in the family. Cool. Yeah, I'll like I was thinking of what was I thinking of? Oh, yeah, Golden Girls, Three's Company, maybe like Everybody Loves Raymond or something like that. I don't know. Maybe Kramer. Is that the name of it? Frasier, not Kramer. That's from Seinfeld. If you asked a question earlier and I missed it, we'll stay on for a few minutes. Ask it again if I didn't see it, because I'm down on the chat feed now and I probably missed it. I don't know if Jackie's here tonight or she's still away, because she hasn't reminded me. So if you do have a question, love to answer it. So yeah, again, if you're just looking at basically trying to figure out which way to go, hopefully this video acts as a guide. If you watch the replay, I'm going to try to put some chapters in so that it might be easier to navigate if you're looking for a specific answer or something. But always leave a comment in the comments down below if you have a question about something that maybe I didn't cover, or specifically when you're talking about kitchens in stock or in custom. If you have a specific question, I love to try to answer it. I do look at all the comments. I try to answer as many as possible. And Paul, the other day when you commented, I happened to just be on, and it was like just within a minute that I seen your comments. So I don't get to everyone's within a minute. That was kind of an anomaly, but I do try to answer as many as possible that I can do. Oh, Alf is a great one. Yeah, good one. Adam's Family. Oh, you guys these are some great ideas. Yeah, Everyone Loves Raymond. We got that one. Family Matters. Yeah. Cool. David Hunter. Oh, leaning towards IKEA section kitchen to keep costs down for a modern minimalist kitchen. Can you recommend a possible third-party cabinet drawer fronts as an option in case I can't find it in my budget? In case you can find it. Yeah, semi-handmade. There's a semi-handmade is a good one, and there's a good one in Canada. Oh, I can't think of the name. Kitsch, maybe? I'm not exactly sure of the name. I'm telling you though, if you go to Homestead Studios, HS Studio Design, Jeff over at Homestead Studios, and ask him pick a video and comment and ask him, he'll definitely know. It's losing me, but I know he definitely knows, because he uses a few different companies. So I know Semi Handmade is one, but there's a couple other ones in the States and in Canada, at least if that's where you're watching from. That would be very useful. But I would definitely check with HS Studio Design, Homestead Studios, and ask him. It's Jeff. If you just search, maybe you've already watched them, but if you haven't, it's just HS Studio, and he'll pop up. So not that I don't want you watching my stuff, but he definitely knows the answer to this question. So hope that helps, David. We got Birdie Bunch, we got Will and Grace. Cool. Can stock cabinets increase in value? If so, what's a good? Mine are definitely old, falling apart. I don't know what to look for. I don't know if they would increase in value. I'm not really sure. I honestly, I'm gonna say not because I have nothing to do with IKEA. I'm not sponsored by them. I don't, I don't even have IKEA kitchens, but I personally think that in terms of stock cabinets, those are probably your best option. Someone might destroy me in the comments on this, okay? And that's okay. I think they have the best option in terms of keep holding their value. And there's lots of videos of people who, IKEA cabinets 1 year later, IKEA cabinets 5 years later. Look up some of those videos and find out how they're holding up. I think that would really help you. Um, I don't think there's any other brand that comes to mind that I would say that for. And I don't know every brand either. So, I'm limited in what I know. But I would say that. I hope that helps. Oh yeah, you're super welcome. Um, oh, cool. Yeah, I'd love to look it over. Yeah, for sure. That'd be awesome. Thank you. All right, Mike. Want contrasting cabinets installed under the island. The ends of the island would be wrapped in the same finish as the new cabinets, so appear all unified. That sounds cool to me. That sounds good. Are you using skin? Like, what are you using to do that? Panels? I guess you're just using panels if you're wrapping them. I like that idea. I love Lucy. Yeah, I plan on doing some more of those. So hopefully, yeah, you're looking at stock kitchens. Maybe you're looking at semi-custom. You're looking at custom kitchens. Hopefully, there's just some ideas here that will help you decide on that, and help you go in that direction. Of course, if you have questions about stock cabinets, please leave a comment. Like I said, I'd love to answer them. Or custom cabinets, I can at least guide you in a direction. If I don't know the answer, we can try to help. And I know that lots of people, especially in these chats, in the live stream, lots of information. There's kitchen designers in here. There are interior designers. There's people that have done kitchens who have a lot of really good things to say. So it's a really cool community because it's not just me saying anything. I'm just adding to the conversation, and we're having a conversation, building kind of a knowledge base, which is really cool, and hopefully a good resource for someone who's looking to get the best quality kitchen, good layout, something that's going to last them for a long time, and they're going to be happy with spending the money that they're going to spend to get that. That's really the goal that I would want to shoot for any of the videos that I put out, even though some I think are silly. Just trying to keep things interesting. All right. I really appreciate you all. It's been an hour. And again, thanks to my buddy Rob for letting me use his apartment tonight. And I don't know if Amy's watching, but I miss you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Love you. And everyone else, thanks so much for being on here and supporting me every week on these live streams, because this is really fun. I really enjoy this, and I get a lot of value out of it, as I hope you do as well. So thank you again. And we'll see you next time when I'm back in my home studio, and we'll be talking about kitchens, something to do with kitchens. And hit that thumbs up. I really appreciate y'all. Love you all. And God